Hi, this is Mweia, your nutritionist with Forward 40 Moves, and we're here again at Fresh. And today we're going to talk about whole grains. Now, this is a popular word, and usually we think of it in terms of whole grain bread, right? But the real meaning of whole grain is that you actually see the whole grain, so it's very minimally processed and not even processed into a flour, right? So we have some options here. We're just going to go through quickly. Let's start with one of our most popular whole grains, which is oats, right? We have a couple options, and you'll see different options in the store. They're usually instant oats, which are not whole grain. They've been processed, but we do have two options here. One is rolled oats, steel cut oats. So the rolled oats are just a little bit more processed than the steel cut. Now the grain itself usually looks like a rice grain. When you look at the whole grain, all grains start off looking like a rice grain. So the oats, the steel cut basically means they just took a sharp blade and cut the oats in half, right? So these will take the longest to cook, but they have the most nutrition and they're the most filling because they're really high in fiber and really high in protein. The rolled oats cook a lot quicker, and really they've been steam rolled, so they've been heated and processed a little bit more than the steel cut, but they still have quite a lot of nutritional values. You'll still get a lot of fiber from them. They'll still help lower your cholesterol, right? So these would be the two best options when you're thinking about using oats, right? You also have products like muesli, and which contain the rolled oats combined with other nuts and seeds, and there's some dried fruits, some dates and stuff in there. Now this is a really good option for making a cereal. You can use it cold or hot, so you can cook it like oats, or you can have it as a cold cereal. And for anyone concerned with calories, trying to cut calories, trying to lose weight, this would be a better option than granola. See, but most people don't realize that while granola may be a healthy product in terms of its oats, it's also usually high fat and sometimes high sugar. So muesli would be a lower calorie, lower fat option than your granola. What else do we have here? We have some wheat germ. So wheat germ wouldn't actually be a whole grain because it does come from wheat, which is the whole grain. But what it is the missing part of the grain that we don't get when we eat white flour stuff, right? So all grains in the center, they have a germ, and that's the most where all the nutrition in terms of the vitamins and minerals and things that can support our bodies live in the germ. So this basically is when they took the germ out to make the white flour, they package it and sell it back to you on its own, right? So really, really high in nutrition, and what a lot of people don't realize is also a really good source of protein, right? So good vegetarian source of protein, wheat germ. Who knew? All right, and then we have Bolger, which is also a wheat product. It is kind of like the steel cut oats. It's kind of like chopped up version of wheat. So, and in this version, it is the whole grain Bolger. You can get Bolger that's not whole grain as well. It's nice and light and fluffy. This one is the whole grain version, which would always have more fiber and more nutrition. And you would cook this kind of like you would couscous, or it's what's usually used to make Mediterranean dishes like I can't remember the name of their salad, but a really good tabbouleh salad that we love. It's a lot of parsley and tomatoes and tastes yummy. All right, then we have the all-popular quinoa. This one is really popular. It's one of my favorites. It can be a little pricier than some of the other options, but it's one of the most nutritious grains in that it's a really good source of protein as well, naturally. So quarter cup has 7 grams of protein. So pretty high in protein, high in fiber, high in minerals like magnesium, and even a little calcium in there, right? So really quick cooking, which is why it's one of my favorite. Cooks in 15 minutes flat, and you can flavor it in so many different ways. You can also have it sweet or savory, right? So really good option. Then we go to couscous, which people often confuse with quinoa. They think they're the same. Quinoa is a grain in and of itself, different from wheat, different from oats, whereas couscous is actually a wheat product. It is processed And it's like a mini pasta, right? Basically, it's a very small, quick cooking pasta, but people love it because it absorbs flavors really well. So if you cook it in some broth and veggies, it tastes really good. It's really easy to cook. But just remember, it still is like a pasta, so it still is a flour-based product. And oat bran, oh, forgot to talk about this when we're talking about the oats. Again, just like the wheat germ is a part of the wheat grain, oat bran is the outer fibers of the oat grain, but it's a really, really great source of fiber. And a lot of people who are trying to reduce their cholesterol, they always go for the oats, but I actually recommend a much more powerful strategy would be to go for the oat bran, because that's gonna give you the fiber and the things you need to really help bring down that cholesterol. What else do we have? Rice, of course. So I know when you're shopping for rice, we're accustomed to these big, bags of our parboiled rice, right? And parboiled basically means it's been refined. It's white rice, it's been refined, and it's quick cooking because of the way it's processed. But brown rice would always be the better option in terms of it's the natural choice, straight out the ground, brown rice. One of my favorites is basmati brown rice. You still get the nice flavor of basmati, and you don't just have to eat it with curry or Indian products. It tastes great with everything, right? It does take a little longer to cook than white rice, but you can still flavor it in the same way, make a vegetable rice, make it taste yummy. And another one that some people use quite a bit of, but is wild rice. Now, wild rice you see sold in a really, really small bag. It's really good to mix in with other rice. If you have a whole bowl of just brown rice, it's so high in fiber, it's really filling. So you can only eat so much of it. So a lot of people would mix this in with other types of rice or other types of grains, but it has a kind of nutty flavor, so it's really nice. And the last thing in here that I didn't touch on would be your buckwheat. Oats, again, just a different type of grain from quinoa, from oats. It's a grain on it to itself. Also really high in protein, really high in vitamins and minerals as well. So great choice to experiment with, to try something new. It can also be used sweet or savory. So you can use it as a breakfast cereal, or you can use it as an alternative to rice. All right, so hopefully you'll try some of these options that you maybe haven't tried before and have fun experimenting and learning something new. So my pleasure. We're here with Forward 40 again, and my name is Mweia.